Brazil is such a passionate country in all ways, and it shows in their food. Traveling within the country, I was able to taste Brazil's energy. A melting pot of Portuguese, African, European, and other Latin flavors, the food of Brazil is really unique, and it all depends on where you are. Tours with members of the United States Tour Operators Association make sure you dive right into this local flavor. Acarajé is one of the most typical snacks here in Bahia, and we came right here to Acarajé de Cira because it's supposed to be the best in all of Salvador. When there are lines, you know it has to be good. And this Acarajé stand had the longest lines on the block. Cooked and assembled right in front of your eyes, this snack looked as good as it tasted. All right, I'm digging in. That is so delicious. All the veggies inside are so good. I'm a fan. I can see why this place is legendary. Another Brazilian treat that you can have at any time of the day is açaí. When you come to Brazil, you absolutely have to try açaí. I'm having some right now with granola and banana, and it's very refreshing. Açaí is actually a small red berry that's found in the Amazon, so right in this region here in Soya. It's very, very popular because it gives you a lot of energy. It's like a superfruit antioxidant. It's really good for you, and let me tell you, it tastes really good too. Many of the activities on tour with members of USTOA include a homemade lunch, and be glad they do. This is not your typical lunch fare. So we're having a typical lunch here in Chapada, and it's sort of buffet style, so you can try a lot of different things, and there's some really cool local specialties that I want to show you. So over here is banana. It's served kind of savory with different herbs and spices, and then there's farofa, which is like a flour that's fried with butter. And then we have a green papaya that's very savory. It's not sweet. It's a fruit, but it's still very savory. And then there's a cactus. And this little guy right here is fried manioc, and it tastes a lot like a French fry. It's sort of like a root starchy vegetable, fried with a little salt. It's delicious. And the rest of my plate is some fresh vegetables, some chicken, some beans. It's a really healthy, hearty lunch. And it's great because we've been out and active all day. There's so much to do and see around here. I was really hungry, so I'm digging in. You can't talk about Brazilian food without mentioning feijoada. This is the country's national dish, and its ingredients even tell a story of Brazil's past. It used to be popular among the lower classes, as feijoada is a mix of the cheaper, less desirable cuts of meat. Stew it together long enough with some vegetables and serve it over rice. However, now it's been changed and elevated to include quality cuts and different interpretations, like this one that we had in Lençóis. And this particular dish was made for me by this lovely little woman in her tiny little restaurant, and it's served right here on the street in Lençóis. It's typically had on Sundays, so that's what we're doing. It's a midday meal because it's very heavy and it fills you up. Let me tell you, this is not your typical Sunday brunch.
Esse é meu restaurante, feijão na chapa, e a gente faz feijoada todos aos domingos. Eu escolhi aos domingos, né? Sempre domingo, né? Que é um dia que todas as famílias, né? Que geralmente as pessoas trabalham durante a semana, e hoje é o dia que as famílias se encontram aqui nesse espaço com seus filhos, né? O que é especial na minha feijoada é o amor, né? O respeito, o carinho, né? Com que prepara, que é fundamental.
Feijoada is not light, so that's why it's usually eaten only once a week. But every day, breakfasts start off very light and healthy. No eggs and bacon, but more fresh fruits and small bites. This is a very typical Brazilian breakfast. There are so many different types of fruits, which I love. All different kinds of tropical things like mangoes and papayas and guavas, watermelons, and they're so sweet and so fresh because they're really local. And then of course, there's all different types of pastries. You have sweet pastries, savory pastries. I really love these. They're called student rolls. They're squishy because they're made with tapioca and they're fried and coated in sugar. And then of course these cheese bread, they're so savory and salty, really, really good. The texture is great on those too. Most of the time it's served buffet style, so you can try all sorts of different things. And you can wash it down with some fresh fruit juice, and of course, Brazilian coffee. Brazil is the world's largest coffee producer, and it's no surprise. I saw fields of coffee beans in the more rural areas. Of course, even the most casual cup of coffee here is better than most, so I made sure to sample as many as I possibly could. And now on to dinner. We had a range of delicious dinners, from casual to gourmet, and each were memorable because the food tasted farm fresh and handmade. We tried all sorts of specialties, like carne del sol or sun-dried meat, rupa velha, which is shredded meat with rice, and all sorts of shrimp and fish dishes too. I really enjoyed a slow food restaurant in Lençóis where every dish was made to order, from scratch, right down to the handmade cacao pasta. This trend is taking over Brazil, and you can taste the difference. Of course, churrascaria is synonymous with Brazil. This Brazilian barbecue is best experienced in an official churrascaria, and Rio de Janeiro has loads. You are offered slices of meat right off the skewers, allowing you to sample a variety of cuts and preparations. Brazil knows how to do meat. And I have to tell you, I have never had a churro before, and my first bite of this churro on the beach filled with dulce de leche was exhilarating. I felt like I had seen color for the first time and angels were singing. It definitely won't be my last.